In a recent talk, is non-duality nihilistic? We did talk about the emptiness aspects of life beyond personality. And I've realised, those are what are really coming up for me a lot. Those are really present for me at the moment. And I was wondering if you could say a bit more about fullness.
Well, can I ask you first of all what you perceive to be the emptiness aspect of this in your life that you're experiencing?
Well, it is the nothingness. There's almost no God, no no spirits, no angels, no ghosts or whatever. No magic. It feels very earthly, almost real. But with that realness, lots of the ideas that I might have had about myself or about life or the universe just disappear, and they just seem, that they're clearly the products of a personality seeking distraction, comfort, to be special, all of those, and it's very liberating losing all of those ideas and beliefs or theories on one level, but it feels quite empty. So in a way, it's quite hopeless.
How's that?
So there's, no one's going to come and come down and save the planet, or I'm not going to sort of I don't know, I'm not going to evolve into a sort of super being with infinite knowledge, or I don't want the viewers to think that I spent all of my time sort of wishing for something to come and sort of save me or save the planet or transform me. But there were those sort of ideas in the back of my mind. Maybe when I'm a bit down. I just realised as I went into those sort of personality delusions, I could feel myself speeding up.
That's interesting. So,
well, there's excitement in them.
Okay.
So that's where the speediness can come from.
And why is there excitement in them?
Getting away from, this mundane life.
So there's a stimulation of that. Getting away from mundane life.
Or just, the horrors of life, or, just the normality of life, or the problems of life, there's a hope for deliverance from those.
Right. Well, there is a deliverance from the suffering of the personality.
But it's, what I'm talking about is, almost supernatural, or, cartoon book, or, religious,
Okay, so I guess
a loving saviour coming and, waving a magic wand and getting rid of all the bad people and horrible things.
I guess what I'm saying is that in finding this, those distractions become redundant. So if you find the place beyond the suffering of personality, what do you need to distract from? What you're left with is life as it is. Now, that doesn't mean all that life is beautiful and full of joy. So that is true. There's still wars, of course. There's still hatred in the world. So there's no protection from that. There is a confrontation with that. Because this sees life as it is. So some of those distractions you were mentioning protected you from seeing that. So in this, one is not protected from seeing that side of life at all.
Well, I think having had a bit of a view of life beyond personality, or a few recently, maybe more, at least
in an opening.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been a couple. There was one in the bathroom. There was the one here, and what I can see is the personality and how it grasps at all these ideas or beliefs and hopes, and then with the view from beyond personality, you can really see how there is nothing to those.
The absolute level is expressed in us as stillness. One way that it's expressed is as stillness. And that is the emptiness side of the equation. So when you think back to being a baby in the natural state, the baby can lie on its back, stare at the ceiling or the sky. Babies have not yet developed personality. They're not bored, they're just lying there steeped in being. So that is our natural state. So although we have since developed these minds and this self-consciousness and the idea of this person, that is at the core of who we are. So for me, that's like the emptiness side. So wonderfully, we also have fullness, which for me would be the, for example, creativity. I would say we are expressing and using dancing in the fullness side at the moment through this conversation. We're using our minds and we're meeting in the middle and sharing things. The fullness expresses in creativity, joy, communication, sharing. So there are these two sides, and it's the yin and the yang. And I guess a whole person, a person who's woken up, has, I guess the imbalance has gone. You can be too busy. You know, workaholism is an example, where one needs to be busy all the time to distract oneself. And this is obviously not part of the natural state. That's personality operating, coming from the need to distract oneself from the suffering and from the wound. This is obviously not healthy. It's not in balance, and it leads to psychological problems and health problems. So the emptiness and fullness sort of balance is something that comes with the shift, with the experience of this. So there's the ability to use the creativity in the mind sharply and with greater efficiency, actually. And there's the ability to not use it, to turn it off. And the need for stimulation and distraction all the time is not there. Now, this isn't to say that I don't have entertainment in my life, or I don't do things with my mind. It's just that they're not driven by that escape, by that running away from pain or suffering. If there's pain coming up, there's something in this system that knows to walk towards it rather than walk away from it. Conflict. If there's pain, there's no conflict in it, in as much as it is lived and accepted and felt, and then it passes through, and that's how it works. So for me, there is an element of balance of the emptiness and fullness in a life, and that's what happens after the shift.